Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Fan Appreciation Month here on Reaction and Review. Tonight, guys, I'm taking a look at a sci-fi film from 2012. That movie is Starship Troopers Invasion. Now, I've seen the three previous Starship Troopers films, and I have enjoyed all three of them. Even though the second and the third one are kind of flawed, I still genuinely enjoyed watching them. This film is the fourth in the series, and this one stands out because where the first three films were live-action movies with tons of CG worked in. CG for the ships, for the bugs, for all the other sci-fi goodness. And all of that worked. This movie is trying something a little bit different by being a totally CG film, which is a rather strange way to take a franchise, especially when you're up to the fourth film in the series. And I don't rightly know if that is going to make this film look good or if the CG is crap. I really haven't seen any footage from this. I haven't seen any trailers. I basically just saw the title and knew that I had to see this because I'm a fan of the three previous Starship Troopers films. I have no earthly clue what the plot to this movie is outside of the usual Starship Troopers trappings of the bugs are here and the Federation is here and they're both at war. That's all I can tell you about plot, and I don't know if this movie's going to branch out beyond that at all. I have no clue if this thing is going to be any good in the slightest, and the only way I'm going to find out if this thing is any good at all is if I shut up and I push play, and I'm going to do that right now. So, without further ado, it's time to kick back, relax, and check out Starship Troopers Invasion. Okay, guys, this here is going to bother me for the run of this movie. The CG here looks awesome for the ships, for the bugs, for the power armor, the weapons, the muzzle flash. Everything looks great. Until we see characters' faces and we see characters' skin. Bodies that are not covered in power armor look almost as if they were rendered for a PlayStation 2 game. It looks rather bad. And it glaringly stands out when everything else is just so high-end and awesome. And I have to watch this now for the next, 90 minutes, give or take. And I have to put up with these ugly faces and these very oddball rendered bodies amongst this awesome-looking CG world. It's going to throw me off a little bit. You know, guys, I was genuinely hoping for this movie to be as good as the previous three, but so far it's just been a little bit dull. I mean, I'm genuinely hoping that it gets better, but so far the story here is just kind of flat and lifeless. You know, guys, it's kind of funny. Now the Starship Troopers franchise, barring the second film, have been kind of predicated on kind of being a spoof of bullshit military action films or, spoofing other various things. This thing is not doing that. We are getting a straight-laced, boring, bullshit sci-fi action movie. The worst part is it's not even a well-written bullshit sci-fi action film. This is pretty bad, guys. Why the hell isn't this fucking thing finished yet? Seriously, guys, this thing is just starting to get tiresome, and with every passing minute, it is getting more and more boring. I never thought I'd say that about a fucking Starship Troopers movie. Good God, guys, this thing is just starting to become fucking depressing. Well, guys, that was Starship Troopers Invasion. Let's shut that shit off. Oh my God. I genuinely thought this was going to be a good movie, but it wasn't. I'm going to start with writing specifically. I'm going to start with the tone, because I know some people have not seen the previous Starship Troopers films, and I think it would be very, very beneficial if I tried to sum up what those first three films were trying to be. The first movie was just a straight up spoof on war films, sci-fi films, propaganda. It was really trying to spoof a dozen different things, and it worked. It was a fantastic movie. It was really charming. I loved the first movie. The second film, the second film was still trying to hang on to some of that, like goofiness, but also tried to make its film a straight up sci-fi horror movie, and it kind of worked, but it still though is the weakest out of the live action trilogy. The third film opted to go back to spoofing war films and propaganda and everything else, while also attempting to run a slightly more straight action film, and also deciding to spoof religion, which is awesome. Okay. All three movies are genuinely fun, albeit kind of flawed in the case of the second and third films. So we have three films, which all of them are trying in various ways to spoof different things. So what exactly is the fourth film trying to do? Well, it's trying to be a straight up sci-fi action film, and it's not even trying to be a good one. Now I can talk about the fucking writing. Our plot here is incredibly thin. Basically, it basically is a bunch of troopers are trying to retake a ship which has been commandeered by a bug queen, which sounds awesome. All right, it really does sound awesome. However, there's really nothing there. There is nothing else there in terms of genuine plot, and when you are running with a plot which is that kind of thin, and you're not trying to build characters, and you're not trying to build tension, you're not trying to do anything of like worth or value, it's just troopers trying to retake a ship. That can get really dull really fast, and in this case it does. Our fucking characters are just basically a bunch of fucking nicknames and the most shallow, flimsiest of character, traits you could ever see. Let me just see if I can actually remember any of these characters. We had Trig, whose entire character is she is a sniper, she's sexy, and she is in love with another trooper named Bug Spray. Bug Spray's entire character is he is in love with Trig. Ta-da! That seriously is it for him. Holy Man's entire gimmick is that he is a holy man. He believes in like tons of different gods, and he's covered in tattoos worshipping said gods. Again, that is it for Holy Man's entire thing. Oh, and he may or may not have a thing for Ice Blonde, whose entire character trait is she's female and she has blonde hair. I am not even kidding, guys. That is it. And it really is a miracle I was able to name 4 fucking characters in this goddamn movie who weren't brought over from the first. So... And every other character is just that flimsy, and none of them have any real personality to them. And the 3 characters who are brought over from the first film have also had all of their life, personality, and soul just ripped out of them violently. So we are basically left with a bunch of shallow, flat, lifeless characters attempting to commandeer a ship from a bug queen. That literally is the entire film, and there's nothing here for it in terms of characters. Dialogue here kind of sucks. Tension, there is no fucking tension. Alright, because that was never a part of the Starship Troopers series. Because you always knew that when all was said and done, the fucking Federation was going to completely waste and whoop up on whatever bug was bugging them at that moment. Alright? You basically knew that. And the only thing which has changed here is that they basically are trying to stop the bugs from actually getting to Earth. Which, again, is nothing new. That has basically been like a common thread across all of the films. This movie isn't offering anything new. It's not offering anything interesting. And it's not even offering what fans of the Starship Troopers franchise would expect. Which is very odd when you're talking about the fourth film in a goddamn series. Now, I could continue to bang on about the writing and about how terrible this fucking writing is, but I'm going to say one last thing about writing, and then I'm going to move on. The person who wrote this script is a man who wrote a lot of shit I watched and loved as a kid and still enjoy today. The man who wrote this is a screenwriter by the name of Flint. His name is Flint Dilley. The man wrote tons of episodes of G.I. Joe, wrote tons of episodes of Transformers, and wrote the Transformers movie from 1986. This man knows how to write interesting shit, and yet he penned this fucking turd. And because of that, I need to ask, what the fuck happened, Flint? What kind of massive shot to your fucking head did you take to go from writing goofy, corny, fun shit, which would have been perfect for a fucking Starship Troopers film? What the fuck caused you to go from writing that to penning essentially trash? I really would like to fucking know. Now, again, I could totally continue to bang on about fucking acting and just completely trash the writing and completely trash the writing, but I'm not. Otherwise, I'd be here for a long goddamn time. The acting. As much, guys, as I hated the writing, the acting here is incredibly solid. One comment I do have to make, though, is even though they brought over 3 characters from the first film, they didn't get any of the actors who played them in the first movie to come in and voice them. The weirdest part about that is that the actor who played Johnny fucking Rico in the first and third films, his name is Casper Van Dien, is a producer on this film. Why he isn't the voice of Rico in this movie, I will never fucking know. I will never understand that, and frankly, I don't care, because the person who they brought in he honestly did a fine job, and I'm not going to take it away from him, and I'm not going to take it away from any of the other actors. The cast here turned in a really good showing, which is almost a fucking miracle when your script is this lifeless and shit. So, the acting here is good, but the writing is garbage. What about the CG? Because, as I stated at the very start of all this is the first Starship Troopers movie to be completely rendered in CG. And when you do that, you have to work with... you basically have to worry about a lot of things. And one thing which you have to worry about is the way the characters' faces and bodies look when they're not in their power armor. And that is where this movie drops the fucking ball and drops it hard. Because guys, you see... unless the camera is like this fucking close, and you're getting one of those extreme close-ups, you will never see a single wrinkle, blemish, or just anything else on the faces of these characters unless they are incredibly old and are supposed to be covered in wrinkles anyway. Which basically means that it looks almost like when you sign up for the, Federation, you not only get power armor and a giant fucking gun, but you also now get a lifetime supply of Botox immediately shot into your head, which also leads to a problem where nobody can show any kind of emotion. And so anytime that a character is angry or sad or frightened, they all give off the exact same dull look on their fucking face, and it just takes you right out of the movie. And the only other thing that ever shows up on people's faces, at least on the faces of about 2 characters in the fucking movie, are scars. And the people who worked on this movie don't know what scars look like, alright? I have seen a lot of scars in my, lifetime. None of them have ever looked like giant black scabs, okay? And that is exactly what every scar in this movie looks like. But then again, the people who worked on this have also never seen facial hair, because the one character who has facial hair, it essentially looks almost like somebody took a can of spray paint and just basically sprayed on his face. it looks really bad. It looks fucking cheap. It looks terrible. Now, mind you now, facial hair actually looks better once more when we are in an extreme close up. But the very fact that there's almost no detail to it in the wider shots, especially on a Blu-ray, which is supposed to be in high fucking definition, is nothing short of which is nothing short of sad. Now, beyond the whole thing with character faces and characters being unable to show feelings, one other problem with faces is mouth movements. Because, you see, guys, the mouth movements here almost work. However, once more, because every single character apparently has been fucking shot up with a fucking ass load of Botox, their mouths barely move. So basically, we have a character who is yelling, and their mouth is barely moving at all, and it looks kind of off. In fact, guys, I'm going to tell you right now, the faces and the body language and the mouth movements really throw this entire movie into the deepest, darkest chasm of the motherfucking uncanny valley, and that is not a good thing. Ultimately, guys, just simply because of the questionable body language and the faces and the mouth movements, I really think that this movie would probably have benefited greatly from just being a live action film and just once more putting digital bugs in. It would probably have worked a hell of a lot better. At least then the film would have looked better in general. I will also say though, when it comes to CG, in most cases, hallways and the bugs, spaceships, all of those look awesome. Skylines look fucking beautiful. Now there actually are a couple of scenes where essentially the background or the ship just looks terrible. And when I'm talking about a ship looking terrible, it actually is a scene when when one of our ships explodes. And the shot looks awful, and it looks incredibly rushed. And basically the scenes where hallways and rooms are looking kind of sort of sketchy and questionable in terms of detail and quality. Most of that has to do with the fact that you are trying to render a shot which has tons of soldiers and tons of fucking bugs. Naturally you have to cut corners somewhere, so then you just drop the quality on the background, and then you can render more shit. At least that is what I'm going to assume happened there. CG here otherwise is, and CG here is fine as long as the characters are all in fucking power armor, and when they're not, then it starts to look like shit. So yeah, that right there is sort of the deal with CG, and of course also with CG we have things like camera movement and lighting, and all of that is fine. It's just, I really kind of wish that they would have spent a little bit more time on faces and body language and trying to put more, detail in when there's a ton of characters on, screen. Otherwise the whole thing looks kind of cheap and stupid. Music here is okay. It's not great. It certainly is not as good as what was in the first three films, but it still certainly does its, job. Guys, when all is said and done, am I able to recommend Starship Troopers Invasion? No. The only way I could is if you're into mindless action films, and that is not my thing. If you genuinely just love it when things are basically blowing up, or when things are getting shot, then you are going to love this. However, I myself did not. This is by far the worst film in the entire Starship Troopers series, and that is saying a lot because I really loved the first three. Even though the second and the third are riddled with faults and flaws, I still genuinely liked them. This thing here has almost no positives going into it outside of the fact that the CG in most cases looks absolutely stunning. Unfortunately, I have to stress in most cases, and when it doesn't look stunning, it looks stunningly bad. And you don't want your movie to look fucking stunningly bad. Anyway, guys, because this is Fan Appreciation Month, Starship Troopers Invasion came off of the Amazon wish list. The person who sent it in was Jeremy. You can find his YouTube channel at youtube.com/user/LordJerek. Please, guys, head over there and check out anything he has. Jeremy, I do genuinely thank you. I was really curious about this ever since I heard that they were making a fourth Starship Troopers movie. I really wish that it was better. I really, really do. However, I honestly would probably have not found out unless you had sent it in, because I probably wasn't going to buy it any time soon. But still, though, I honestly would not have seen it if you hadn't sent it in, and for that I thank you. Now, I came into this. I wanted to watch a Starship Troopers movie. God damn it, I'm going to do exactly that. I'm going to go and rewatch the first one. After all, it has been a couple of years. Anyway, guys, with that, we come to the close of another reaction and review. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, take care, and I will see you all in the near future. Peace.